Good morning, guys. It's early Tuesday morning, Tuesday, March 24th, 2015. Where does the time go? I'm up because I want to talk about what to do when nothing seems to be working. I just want to give a quick second for the My Taught You journal purchasers. Thank you so much. It is so cool seeing everybody have their journals. I'm really excited to see all the stuff you're writing down. I'm excited to see you using the system. I have recorded two private podcasts so far, and I'm probably going to do more that I'm going to email out more than likely at the end of this week, one at a time. I just want to make sure that the rest of the journal purchasers get theirs. Those will be in this week coming from Canada. They oversold, which is exciting, and so we had more printed and more coming, and they will be here, and you will be getting them ASAP. Uh, for those of you interested in purchasing the journal, you can get that at mytaughtyou.com. Just to give you some insight, I am working on building a website that will house all the podcasts with clearer ways for you to read them, because I feel like everywhere that they are online, you can't really see what they're about. So that is scheduled to kick off April 1st. There will be a mobile version and a regular version of that. I have the proof, so the site is built. I just have to make my tweaks and approve it, and then we'll have one little house to party in. So I'm excited about that. Without further ado, I am going to get into what to do when nothing seems to be working. I was sitting here over the weekend, and I am having my coffee. So if I take a couple pauses, I'm drinking black coffee with honey, which is actually really good. I had breakfast with Janelle, the owner of Camille Rose Naturals, and that's how she drinks her coffee. And I tried it, and it's actually good. So she's vegan, and so I was like, wow, this is interesting. Anyway, the first thing I want you to do um, when nothing seems to be working, like I said, I was thinking about this over the weekend, is that I want you to take inventory. And I have mentioned that many times. I mentioned that in the My Taught You journal. And there's just something about stopping and taking stock when you feel like nothing's working. And this can be personal, this can be, with relationships, at work, professional in your career. Um, Sometimes you need to be really transparent with yourself and say, okay, what is it that I'm either not doing or I could be doing a better job at? And honestly, I got up this morning super early and I was feeling sort of like, okay, why is it that I can't seem to make any sort of traction with a person or a company? And then I started to feel like I'm sure a lot of people feel. Because I'm gonna be transparent, because I had to be transparent with myself. I started to feel like shaded in a way, like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm making all this effort, and I feel like the effort's not reciprocated. I felt that way. But then when I took inventory, because I love feelings are not facts, I have to sit there and tell myself that, what I feel is not a fact. And in my taking inventory, I basically just decided to put my feelings to the side and just step back up and just continue to sort of to work on it, because I think in my mind I feel like I do a great job of like keeping in touch with people and reaching out and supporting. In my mind I do, because I think I I I I quietly root for so many people, and I'm so excited for so many people. And in my mind, everybody's in there and they know, like, but the truth of the matter is nobody knows until I do something about it. And so I really just had to do some inventory on myself and say, that's why this isn't going anywhere, because A, I'm either in my feelings about it, and B, I'm not doing anything. I'm in my feelings and not doing anything about it. So that's what I had to do. And so that's what I want you to be super transparent. Ask yourself, how much are you really doing? And then this was something that was really interesting, and I thought about is consider this. Am I operating from a deficit, right? So think about what it is that you've been working on, or what it is that you've been wanting to happen, and think about the efforts that you've recently made. And think about if when you started this, there's a chance that you could have been operating at a deficit, meaning you were so like you had dug such a deep hole that you needed to do so much work just to get to ground zero that it looks like nothing's happening, but you're really digging yourself out of a hole. And so it feels like you're not moving and it looks like on the outside you're not moving, but you've really been working to, let's just say, clear up some trash. Many of us, it could be a situation with like credit, getting right with a couple people. It's like I also had a situation where I was that I know I'm operating at a deficit. It's a family situation, and it's kind of like I know that like my family is small. Like my immediate family is small. My extended family is humongous. My immediate family is so small, and it's like I am the last person to reach out to someone. And all of my other family sort of has, and that outreach has not been good. So I knew when I called yesterday that I was operating from the deficit of my family that had already sort of, I would just say, damage that had been done. So I basically was calling to establish something. And so nothing happened. And I don't feel unaccomplished in that. I just know that I'm operating at a deficit. So it's going to take me time to get past the nothing stage. That makes sense? Um, and if it doesn't, tweet me. I'm at MyLeak on Twitter, and you can always hit me up on my AskFM, ask.fm/MyLeakTeal, and we can talk about it a little bit more. But I think sometimes it's very, very important to understand that when you feel like nothing's moving. Second thing I want you to do is after you've done the inventory, I want you to think about what's not working because something has to not be working, right? Or maybe not. Maybe everything's fine and you need to go to step 3. But for people who have discovered that something's not working, I want you to rework your plan. So if you're working with your journal and you kind of got your plan going, maybe we need to add a couple more steps. So like maybe there's a couple more things that we need to do before we take the first step. So it's just like maybe I need to get a couple more ducks in a row. For those that went to college, it's like your prerequisites for this next class or this whatever. And so it's like maybe I need to go back and get some prerequisites before I take this step. And if that's the case, that's fine. So it's just like maybe I need to rework my plan. Maybe I need to reorganize my priorities. I have found with the younger girls that work with me in the office that they at times struggle with priorities. They don't really know what's the most important thing. And so that's okay because when you're doing something new, how are you supposed to know what is going where and what's of the highest priority and what needs to happen first and what's the first thing that needs to happen in order for the second thing to happen? And I'll just say this, if you are working on a business, and I know a lot of you are working on side hustles and businesses, before you start busting down this website and getting all the logos and all this, make sure that your product is perfect, or as my mom would say, perpentito. Make sure what you're doing is really excellent. Obviously, there's no such thing as like perfect, but make sure that you have maxed out on the best that you can possibly do, whether this be a product or a service. Because I'll just tell you right now, I was doing Curlbox for a year and a half with a splash page of a site. So there was no website. And everybody would always say, your product looks so great, but your website doesn't. And I'm just like, because if I don't have a product, I don't need a website. So I finally, once I got to a place where I could afford the kind of website that looked nice, the web kind of website that I wanted, which is the one that I have, I got one. But my focus was on delivering an exceptional product. You ever see people who have like the best websites in the world, but they aren't doing anything, not making any sales because the product's really not that great? Exactly. Something else you might want to do is slow down. It's like you may be doing so many things and sort of exhausting yourselves or just it's too much. And so it's okay for you to just slow down a little bit and kind of like reflect and look back on some of the things that you've done. So let's slow the train down a little bit if you find that some things are not working. Um, Slow down on some of the things that you know aren't working and see, in reorganizing your priorities, maybe these methods need to be eliminated, or maybe you need to, for you, those of you who are working on your online presence, maybe maybe you're the queen of Pinterest, maybe you're the queen of Instagram, or maybe you just kill YouTube videos. And it's awesome when you can slay across all platforms. But I think that there's a place for everyone, and focus on the place that you're doing well at and that you like the most. Um, so slow down and then just stop, step back. So either slow down and or step back. So take a step back from some things that are not working. Number 3 is going to be get help. Okay. Have someone that you trust or that you respect or that you admire really look over your plan. If you have one. Many people don't have a plan, and I understand. Sometimes I fall in that category too. Have someone look over your plan, get some feedback on your pace, because sometimes you don't know, is it too fast, is it too slow? Get some feedback on your pace and get some feedback on your direction. Because the worst thing you want to be do is running fast down the wrong aisle, right? So have somebody give you some feedback on that. And sometimes you can ask someone who's completely not in your industry. Sometimes I do that. Like, I'll just ask someone who may not be in my industry or may not know me very well, just to try to get their unbiased input. And then I'll ask someone who knows me very well and get their input. And while I don't need a ton of input to make, every single decision, when it seems like nothing's working, I know that it's time to get some feedback. Um, you got to get out of the vacuum. So I met with one of my mentees over the weekend, and she's been in a vacuum for like a year. And it's like she's at this breaking point where it seems like nothing's happening. And I'm like, this is when you have to like throw out your anchor and stop the slow or fast boat, you know, and throw up your flag and just say, I need help. And that's okay, because when you're charting new territory and there's no blueprint for a lot of the things that we're doing. All of this stuff is new, social media, a lot of these new businesses, a lot of this stuff is new. And so um, sometimes you just have to rely on others and get their opinions to kind of give you some insight for the people who've been doing some kind of business before this. Number 4 seems pretty obvious, but I always, always, always want you to keep going. Like, just because nothing seems to be working doesn't mean that we stop, because the ones who win are the ones who are still there after everyone quits. Like, I want you to know that. The ones who win are the ones who are still there after everyone quits. And I know this to be true. A lot of people quit when it gets really hard or when it seems like nothing's happening. But I've seen that I'm sure a lot of you have seen that Instagram picture where it's like the little carrot or something, or just like when you can't see what's happening underneath, or the rock, I can't remember, but it's that whole thing of like, you just don't know, one more hit, one more step, one more connection is all you need for this thing to break. So you want to keep going. You want to try your new approach. You want to try, after you've taken the inventory, after you've slowed down or taken a step back and had somebody look at this, you want to try the new approach. You want to, this is going to be fun. And I do this, and I want you to do this, and I want you to tag me. I would love it if you tag me in your pictures with my taught you if you do this. I want you to celebrate a teeny tiny accomplishment. Because they're still accomplishments. So whatever it is that you love, I want you to have a glass of champagne and toast to yourself for when you make one teeny tiny accomplishment. Somebody emails you back, you finally had a breakthrough on your logo, you finally hit a mark, you added a couple more followers, whatever it is. I want you to celebrate a teeny tiny accomplishment, because really that's kind of how it works along the way, is that it feels like you're doing nothing, but you're just making a whole bunch of teeny tiny accomplishments along the way. Number 5 is also a no-brainer, is to be positive. It is so, so important to be positive while you're working and while you're doing things, and to make sure that everyone else around you stays positive. I have to have that. And if people aren't being positive, I have to remove myself because I know that that's not going to help me. But the thing about when you're working on things and it feels like nothing's working is that you tend to get a little self absorbed, right? You are focused on yourself, me. And sometimes you need to change that energy. So, changing that energy is either volunteering or simply just being generous. It's like give you a break, give the focusing on self a break. So, you want to break up some of that self absorption because it happens, it's totally normal, but you're working so hard, you're trying so hard, and you've just really started to focus on you. And you'll find that when you start doing things for other people, you naturally start to get things back, be it ideas, be it support, be it just the word that you needed. I mean, I was working on something in the office, and our most recent hire, Victoria, is 22. And I mean, she just gave me like, I think I was saying, like, oh, I don't think I should do this or something like that. And she's like, come on, Miley, like, you'll do it or you'll sell through or this is what makes you great or something. And it's just like, sometimes I still need to hear that also. And so, that's the awesome part about kind of going outward. And when you've been inward for so long, somebody gives you just that boost as you're helping them. And you're just like, you know, okay, yeah, I can do this. And so that is it for me on what to do when nothing seems to be working. You know the drill. Instagram me, tweet me, ask if in me. Let me know how everything is going in your world. Let me know how the journaling method is working for you. Those private podcasts should be very helpful. And that is all. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.